Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for granting me leave to make a brief presentation on the real estate bill, especially given its importance to the growth and development of our economy. As we all know, Mr. Speaker, the structure of St. Lucia's economy changed significantly, resulting in a shift from an agricultural-based economy to a services-based economy led primarily by the tourism sector. However, Mr. Speaker, the real estate sector plays a very important part in the economy of St. Lucia, contributing to economic growth, job creation, and overall stability. In relation to GDP, Mr. Speaker, real estate, including construction and property management, contributes significantly to a country's gross domestic product. It includes residential, commercial, and industrial real estate activities. Mr. Speaker, as usual, I always like to refer to the Social and Economic Review and have data available to substantiate my arguments. I shall provide data in my presentation to illustrate the importance of real estate to the economy. The sector, as I indicated, creates jobs in construction, architecture, as mentioned by my colleague from Castle Southeast, engineering, interior design, property management, real estate brokerage, and legal services, Mr. Speaker. Real estate agents provide a very important service in a market-based economy, facilitating the buying and selling of land. These assets, Mr. Speaker, are the most valuable assets that individuals own, and it is therefore important to ensure that there is a market in which buyers and sellers can interact in the real estate market. Real estate assets tend to appreciate over time, providing financial security and investment opportunities for individuals and businesses. Now I turn to the importance of the real estate sector to our economy, Mr. Speaker. We shall look at the contribution real estate adds to GDP. On this side of the House, Mr. Speaker, we make our conclusions, as I indicated earlier, based on data and evidence. A review of the gross domestic product data at constant prices by economic activity, constant price contribution to GDP in the Economic and Social Review for 2023. The reference is Table 4 on page 106. It shows that real estate contributed over 10% of GDP in every year from 2006 to 2023. In current dollar terms, Mr. Speaker, real estate contributed $717.3 million in 2023. As a measure of comparison, Mr. Speaker, agriculture contributed $73.8 million, manufacturing $217.1 million, and financial services $495.2 million. Mr. Speaker, I repeat, in current dollar terms, real estate contributed $717.3 million in 2023. And a measure of comparison shows that agriculture contributed $73.8 million, manufacturing $217.1 million, and financial services $495.2 million. Indeed, Mr. Speaker, the only sectors that contributed more than the real estate sector are accommodation and food services, which is driven by the tourism sector at $1.257 billion, and wholesale and retail, which contributed $813.2 million to GDP. So you see the tremendous importance of that sector to economic growth, development, and stability in our island. So apart from its contribution to GDP, Mr. Speaker, the real estate sector contributes to increasing investment, employment, and foreign exchange earnings in the country. Given the importance of the real estate sector, there is need for more data and information to be provided on this sector. It is therefore important to ensure that the real estate sector is regulated, Mr. Speaker, so that consumers are appropriately protected, and to ensure that there are appropriate standards in place to govern this critically important sector. The real estate sector, Mr. Speaker, and this bill in particular, establishes the governance structure for a well-functioning and regulated sector. The bill, Mr. Speaker, contains 5 main parts, and the minister detailed those parts, but I shall adumbrate to make a very important point, Mr. Speaker. Part 1, which deals with the establishment of the Real Estate Board. Part 2 makes provisions for the licensing and registration of real estate brokers and agents. Part 3, Mr. Speaker, outlines the obligations of real estate brokers or real estate agents. Part 4 contains provisions on how consumer complaints are to be addressed and the application of specific provisions of the Consumer Protection Act, Cap 13.24. And finally, Mr. Speaker, there is Part 5, which deals with miscellaneous provisions, and in particular, gives the minister responsible for commerce the authority to make regulations. The Act is comprehensive in both scope and breadth, Mr. Speaker. The standard governance conditions for the establishment of the board are outlined in Part 1 of the bill. It is to be noted that the board will not, however, be serviced by a chief executive officer and administrative staff, but will receive administrative and technical support from the ministry responsible for commerce. It is to be noted that a senior technical officer from the ministry is to be appointed on the board. This arrangement seems efficient, Mr. Speaker, as the volume of work may not require full-time staff to address the needs and requirements of the board at this juncture in time. Part 2 of the bill contains provisions for the licensing and registration of real estate brokers and agents. This, Mr. Speaker, is a very important section and is now prevent any fly-by-night person coming into the sector and operating as a real estate broker or agent. You would have to hold a valid license before you can practice as a real estate broker or agent. This section provides for, inter alia, the application process, the eligibility conditions, the condition of a license, and the duration of the license. I would also like to highlight clauses 47 and 48, Mr. Speaker, which require the board to maintain a register of all licensed real estate brokers and agents. This part also provides for redress through the High Court by a real estate agent or broker who is aggrieved by a decision of the board. This part, Mr. Speaker, is very important. It's a very important component of the regulatory framework for real estate brokers and agents. Part 3 of the bill outlines the obligations of the real estate brokers and agents. Clause 45 of the bill provides for the real estate broker agent to hold the client's money in trust. And clause 46 provides for the broker or agent to pay his or her clients without delay. Clause 46(4) provides for a fine of $10,000 or imprisonment for a term not exceeding 6 months, or both, if the broker or agent is in breach of this condition. Clause 47 of the bill provides for brokers or agents to provide quarterly reports to the board within 21 days of the end of each quarter, highlighting transactions undertaken by the real estate broker or agent. The report is to contain 1, the number of parcels of land sold monthly. 2, the location of the land. 3, the value of the land. And 4, the selling price of the land. This, Mr. Speaker, will provide valuable information on the real estate sector, which can be used for analysis and policy. That's a visionary government, Mr. Speaker. We do not believe in vitae things. We believe in consolidating. We believe in providing a framework within which to ensure macroeconomic stability so that we can deliver services to the people that look up to us for compassion and honest purpose, Mr. Speaker. Part 4 of the Act deals with complaints and outlines the steps that consumers will need to take in making complaints about real estate brokers and agents, where the consumer believes that the real estate broker or real estate agent has engaged in misconduct or has contravened the Act. The following provisions of the Consumer Protection Act apply in relation to the Real Estate Brokers and Agent Bill. Section 2. B, Part 1 in relation to the Consumer Affairs Department. C, Part 2 in relation to the Consumer Protection Council. D, Part 3 in relation to the Consumer Protection Tribunal. And finally, Mr. Speaker, the Minister is given authority under the Act to make regulations to provide detailed procedures to processes for implementing the Act more effectively. Mr. Speaker, I have no lingering concerns regarding supporting this bill. I think it's in keeping with what is required to ensure fiscal sanity in our country, to give focus and direction to a very important part of GDP, and let us continue to grow every sector of the economy so that we are able to create that environment to deliver more to the people that, of course, we represent and who listen to hear how we deal with the delicate business of the country. And therefore, I give full support, Mr. Speaker, to the approval of the Real Estate Brokers and Agents Bill. I thank honorable members for giving me the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, thanks for giving me leave. I now yield the floor.